The following podcast is intended for mature audiences. Enjoy the show.
Hey gamers, this podcast was recorded in front of a live studio audience, held against their will.
The following podcast contains content not suitable for young audiences. That includes you, little Jimmy.
A, B, C.
Thane counts with his letters,
which is a good thing.
I can only count to Z.
I got one thing. What letter is F in the alphabet? Go right now. What number is it?
5.
Is that true?
He counted in
6.
his head. I saw it. A, B, C.
Oh, you're right. A, B, C.
A, B,
It's 6.
C, D, E, F. Yeah, it's 6.
I changed my answer at the last minute. I said 6.
Cheater.
Welcome, everybody, to the Talking Rad podcast.
And on today's episode,
Podcast,
it's
me.
number 14.
We're back
Our podcast is almost the legal age now. We're 14.
in Japan. So how are you guys doing today?
Don't we want that age though? At least that age watching. Is that what we want?
At least that age, yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was 13.
I thought that's what you meant.
13 works, but at least 14 will work too.
I thought that's what you meant. I didn't think you guys meant like anything else.
I didn't mean anything else either until I meant something else.
I meant like our podcast age is 14 episodes, so that's like one episode
You're
is a
digging
year.
yourself deeper.
Huh?
You're digging yourself deeper into the hole.
Hello,
you created.
everybody. Welcome
Thank you,
to
Cole.
the Talking Rad podcast.
Rad podcast.
My rad name is Rad Cole, and I'm joined by Sky Cats, and we don't have any other names.
That's Golf Wing.
This is
But like
day 14 of quarantine, and
Oh, I guess we do Talking Zay and Pod.
because quarantine's really
Dane.
getting to Cole. It's really getting Cole.
Cole's losing his tits.
My life's the same pretty much. Though,
Cole walked out, and he openly said Persona 5 is a horrible game.
Mm-hmm.
He said that.
Very
so
bad.
He said Animal
Whoa.
Crossing's for little kids.
I bought it, and I was
It's really
like,
getting to him, guys.
Ew, I have to play as a villager? Why can't I be Isabel? She's my special dog. Thing gets a little kick out of that. Of course he does. Of course he does, dude. We're not gonna
They ain't so happy.
get into that territory today.
You know, going back, Cole said this a couple times, but if you make Thane laugh, like, you know you did something right, because Thane doesn't laugh at anything ever.
What?
I mean,
That
he
we
laughs
say.
at stuff, but
That we
like
say.
the stuff that we say or the jokes that we make, it's
Like
rare
a-
to make things
Like a
laugh.
wholehearted laugh, like you're really laughing, not
Yeah.
just a ha ha, and then just talk about something else immediately, like
that,
you normally
that
do.
little giggle that he did right there, that was about as good as you can get.
No, I got a good one yesterday.
Well, sometimes you can get really good ones.
yesterday
too,
I
but,
got
like,
you good.
what'd you
Thing.
hit him
Very
with?
rare.
I said the thing he was talking about, the in real time, and then I said something like inappropriate, most
Oh.
likely, and then I said in real time, and then he started laughing really hard.
Yeah.
I got him.
That little that's the I don't really remember, but I guess I'll laugh to
I
it.
mean, whatever videos Thane watches, he laughs his head off, because I
That's
always
why he
hear
doesn't
him.
watch our. That's why he doesn't watch the Radkatz channel.
Yeah.
He's always like,
Yeah.
he's like, what the holy.
He's so
holy-
loud when he's
what
watching
up?"
videos.
I know. I'll be at work, and he just yells, "Mother F!" And then my student's like,
Are you okay?
do you live in an abusive household? I'm like,
Like, yeah, that's just my
No.
roommate being beat by my other roommate.
He lifts up a piece of paper.
it's just one of my prisoners of war I have in
I
my
hate
house.
this.
What if they ask if they're abusive?
I'm just kidding. I don't think they can hear you.
Oh, okay, good.
So turn it down a notch, okay?
I want them to hear me.
No. Do you want me to fire you?
Lick.
And you're getting fired as our full-time editor.
Speaking of editing, Thane, yesterday
That's for
Rendered
thinking.
Art came out, right?
Yeah,
It was pretty cool.
yeah.
Thanks for sharing that with us, Thane.
Tell us about it, Thane. Give us just a little 1 to 2 minute synopsis on how the whole process went for
A
you
little
and
behind the scenes.
how you enjoyed it. Yeah, give a little behind the scenes.
Yeah, get a little BTS, that Korean K-pop
What?
band.
Yeah.
It is very tedious to edit. I some parts was like, oh god, why do I have to do this? But then I got through it, and
Oh
As-
God, please.
and as we're filming this right now, there's still a few parts that I need to add, but yeah, it should be all good.
You should be able to
Yeah.
watch it by the
Yeah.
time you're listening
Yeah.
to this.
Should be all cleaned up and chopped
In fact,
in.
you probably already have watched
Yeah.
it.
That's true because it came out yesterday.
yeah.
Yeah.
But if you haven't, click on Rendered Art episode 1.
It frustrates me because I was
Subscribe.
working on a part. If you see the intro, if it works right, and the thing is, here's a bullcrap thing. So it's just a simple. Sorry if you don't like the intro. I kind of made it on the spot, but so what it does is just zooms in on the picture of Amaterasu and then it fades in and says rendered art. Like I do the thing where it's like it has the I do a little stopwatch for the
Keyframes?
scale.
I
Yeah.
like it called stopwatch.
Yeah, because that's what it is.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying it's,
Yeah.
it's cute.
And,
I've heard people call it that.
And what it's supposed to do is it zooms in as a motion, and for the time you put it on, and it should do that. It doesn't do that. Like when I do the stopwatch, when I play the video, it suddenly just zooms in and stays there, and it's like, and even though the little numbers are running, that's saying it is zooming in, it's not. And then I pause the video and it goes back just a little bit. I'm like, what
That's
the
just-
hell is
that's just
going
with-
on?
that's just with
Richard?
playback.
That's your computer.
Yeah, that's just playback thing. So it should work fine.
It-
I'll
it
I'll
should
go
work
look
fine,
at it.
yeah.
I can go help you look at it after
I'm
this.
assuming that's just
Yeah.
definitely just your computer not rendering it right. But like
Yeah.
when you render the actual video, it will go right.
Okay.
Yeah. That video, though, for you to render probably is going to take you close to maybe 40 minutes, maybe
Okay.
even more.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
it is like a 20-minute long video.
It
Yeah, but
is
we-
rendered art,
Yeah.
after all.
Yeah.
Hey, nice one, Zay.
We'll talk more about it next week when we actually have it uploaded. Well, the community can talk about it because next week's community day, so I don't. You guys
Yeah,
can
which
handle
speaking of next week's community day, I will be gone that weekend, so
Okay.
we're filming it early. So get your questions in early,
Yeah.
okay? Go to the Discord. The link's in the description if you're not following the Discord, and go ask us some questions.
it. Yeah.
But number them like last time, guys. That was fun.
Yeah.
It made it easy for us.
Just do the number thing because it's just it's good. It's convenient. It's fun.
Yay.
Send us some of your dankest questions and we might answer them.
Don't get too political, though, because we'll skip it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or at least we'll try to.
And I swear, you probably didn't see it since we cut it out, but I swear I will not give a same answer like I did that one time.
We'll just, okay, we got it.
I don't know what he's talking
Yeah, I don't know what
about.
you're talking
Does he
about.
what?
We got it. We got it.
I watched the whole podcast, and
I didn't see one
There's
edit.
no- I didn't cut anything
See
out of the
one
video.
Skip. I didn't see
yeah, there
anything.
wasn't a. There,
Okay,
There wasn't
so-
a 40-minute commercial break.
It's a little
I can
behind.
grow my beard out
So
during the break.
a little behind the scenes. I said something that probably shouldn't have gone there, so we cut it. But don't worry, I won't do that again. So it's not some weird cut.
all he
You're a
did,
good
guys,
boy.
was he pretended to be Joey from Full House, and he went, "Cut it out."
Oh, I thought it was.
so I cut it out.
I thought it was Joey from Friends. He's like, "How you doing?"
Yeah, it's just I felt that it was just too cringy to
Is
air
that
on the
good?
show. So
Do we need to cut that out? Is that too
That's
cringy?
great.
Cut
That's
it
great.
out.
So Joey says the cut it out thing on Full House.
yeah, that's like his thing.
Cut
He
it
says cut it
I don't
out,
remember that very
and then
much.
and then DJ says okay, and then cuts his throat out. It's a very dark. It's a very dark
Jeez.
episode. I don't know
It's
why.
about
Yeah.
Michelle. Michelle's watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
No, she was in the
Poor
other
girl.
room. She was in the other
Thank
room.
goodness.
Yeah. Her uncle passed
So
away.
was Full House done by Nickelodeon, like Nick at Night?
No, it was
It was Nick at Day.
It was ABC. It was what's it called? TGIF. It
But
was
what
on
did
the
it air
TGIF
on?
block.
What did it air on?
ABC.
ABC.
Yeah, I
did,
think
okay.
the reruns were just on Nickelodeon.
Yeah, the
Okay.
reruns
It's a
were just on
family-friendly show.
Okay, sorry, Thane. I wasn't born in the '80s when it came out.
That's
I
when you
watched
saw
it on
this guy.
Nickelodeon.
It wasn't 80s, was it?
All you have to do
I
is
thought it was
look that
90s.
up.
I thought it was 90s.
Let me look it up.
I thought it was
Okay,
late
yes.
80s and then throughout the 90s.
And then they made the sequel, which
Fuller House.
I don't care about
They're
because
still
I never really
going.
cared about Full
I mean,
House.
they're doing something right. They got like 3 seasons.
1987, baby.
Is Mary Kate and
Yeah.
Ashley
Boom.
Olsen in it?
No, they actually retired from acting.
But they got DJ, they got
Stephanie.
Wendy Preffercorn, whatever her name is. Is it
Yeah,
Stephanie? That's her
Stephanie.
name?
Yeah.
Stephanie's her
Dang.
sister.
Yep.
What
that's
did they
her.
do with the? What about the twin? Or not the twins, but Michelle? What did they do with Michelle?
They
Not
just,
in it.
yeah.
It's
I don't
like
know how they wrote her
She
off.
died
but-
in
It
a
was-
car accident.
No, the first episode they did because my siblings watch it all the time. But the first episode they totally like
Michelle moved away.
broke the fourth and said, "Oh, she's being very successful with her clothing company," and said
Which-
she was too busy to come hang out.
Oh, which in real life she's
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
doing.
Real life,
Real
both
life,
the twins are
yeah,
actually
they
doing
have
it.
like a clothing.
and then
line.
they all looked at the camera and did like a. It was pretty funny.
Oh gosh, and the laugh
They
track
broke
and
the
everything.
fourth wall.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
weird.
But
in that
John
kind of a
Stamos,
show.
bro, the first episode,
Oh,
John
is
Stamos.
he in it too?
Yeah, for the
That's
well,
cool.
they play like cameos. They'll come in every
Oh,
couple
okay.
episodes, but it was the first episode. All of them are together, and John Stamos sits down and he's like, "Man, I cannot believe how awesome we all still look." But he like said a swear word. I can't remember what it was.
Oh.
Something like, "Man, we look good" or
He's
something.
like, fuck.
Yeah.
It's like a kid show. I think he said, "Damn." I think he's like, "Damn, we all look good." And which,
Oh.
dude, they all still look really good and
Yeah.
healthy.
Yeah, John
Bob
Stamos
Saget's a
looks
little
really
chubby. Joey's a little chubbier.
But John Stamos looks really good. Still.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, guys. Like, if there's
Dude
one
never
man,
ages.
if there's one man to bone, he's got to be one of them, like top 5.
Okay.
Oh, is he number 1 for
Then
you?
we're gonna have to cut this
He's
out.
just like, oh, that's definitely number
Then we're
one
gonna have to do
for
a quick
me.
edit.
It's like, shoot, they got me. Yeah, Fuller House. I don't know. It's okay. I mean,
You know,
it's a show.
speaking of television and movies, that is actually what I wanted to talk about for the first question.
I feel like you're just making this up, but
Smooth
okay.
transition.
No,
Did
I
you really have
haven't-
this
I have-
planned?
yeah, it's a
Okay.
thing. It's specifically about movies or TV shows. For me personally, I like to watch the same movies and TV shows over and over again. So that was my
What are you, a
question.
toddler?
Is
Sick burn, Dave. Yeah.
Dude, nice symmetry, bro.
I'd like to
Nice
announce
length,
that I'm
9 out
now
of 10.
retiring from the podcast. Just kidding.
I just ended the whole man's career.
The whole career.
The whole man's career.
Oh, what's that mean?
Cole, you should
got
shave
the
your-
whole squad laughing, Jimbo.
Good job, Jimbo. You got the whole squad rolling or something like that.
And with that, Thane will now be the host of this week's podcast.
Cole,
Cole,
shave your
yes.
beard. Cole, shave your beard.
So what's the question,
It
Cole?
was which TV shows or movies have you seen more than once, and which one have you seen the most, you think?
Am I counting like now or like my whole life?
Yeah,
Like
your whole
since-
life.
Okay, well the number one movie / movie series that I've seen the most in my life is Lord of the Rings. Number 3 being the one I've seen the most. But I watched as a kid. I watched The Iron Giant and Tarzan a bunch.
Oh.
Yeah, nice.
And then I guess a TV series was like I had them on VHS, but it was like 5 episodes of Power Rangers and then like the first 3 episodes of Pokemon.
What about like? So I guess follow up question with that then, like a show. Let's say like it's a show that other than like Lord of the Rings. Let's say a TV show that you really really liked that you had to watch again. You've watched multiple times.
The Office.
Yeah, that was one of my answers actually. I think The Office is pretty easy to watch multiple times for some reason.
Rewatchable.
I don't know why. You'd think you'd forget the jokes, but you don't.
It's just
I mean,
funny.
You'd think you'd remember the jokes, but you don't. You definitely forget them. That's what I meant to say.
What I like though is, well, a lot of people whenever they say like shows like that, they're like the first time I went through it, like everything's so new.
Yeah.
But then you go back through and you catch things you didn't see before.
Yes.
But then you also are like, oh, that's a really good joke, or
But
something
the
like
show
that.
like
I
an
didn't
Office-
expect his dick to be that big.
the,
What's
how
the
many things
Sorry.
we got to cut?
Cut
I
it
mean,
out.
I talk about
Cut
Game of
it
Thrones
off.
What I was gonna say was like you think a show like The Office though is like you wouldn't be able to watch that one again because it's just a
True.
comedy.
That's true.
Like sure, there's like an overarching plot at times, but the majority of it's
just
just
depends
comedy.
on like depends
Yeah.
on like the episode. but
Exactly. Yeah.
That's true. That just proves it's a good show. Those ones that like
good
can
point.
withstand, could like that carry well and that age well. I mean, those are good ones.
Even the
for
seasons
sure.
after Steve Krill be like, I got nothing else. Because after Steve Krill, the show does go downhill.
Okay, I'll ask everybody. Have you guys you've all seen The Office then, right?
Yeah.
I haven't seen like every episode, but I've seen like a good amount.
Okay.
I've seen those. I've seen the ones after
That's my
Steve
second
Carell, and
question.
then
Was
after
like,
as
have
well.
you seen have you watched much of the stuff after Steve Carell left?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, because
What-
I definitely sat through every episode at least once in my life. But man, those ones after the Steve Carell, they're kind of rough at times. Sometimes
Yeah.
they're pretty good, but my goodness, sometimes they're
You see,
bad
with
taste.
with comedy, like there are shows that are like they have good, like solid straight seasons. Like say take that 70s show, you got a good like 7 seasons, or is it 6?
Something like that.
Yeah, and then the last season is just like they're trying to keep the show alive. It's like, come on, we got the last year in the canon. Let's just get through it. And Topher Grace leaves, and he was like kind of like the straight man. He was like kind of the weird. I guess well, also Hyde was kind of straight man. Well, he was kind of more like the, I don't know. I'm not going to describe characters, but anyways, he was like an important part of the series. He's kind of like had the view that you related with. And then also Ashton Kutcher, the fan favorite, he also leaves, but he does make cameos. And the guy they try to get, which is like kind of a mix of both, which is Will Myers, played by Will Myers' brother, who I don't remember. I mean, Will Myers. That is Seth Myers. I think
Will
his name
Myers.
is actually Will Myers,
okay,
the
okay,
actor.
okay.
Oh,
But yeah, he's the brother of Seth Myers, and you see, and he's like, this guy's just not
yet.
not the substitute. He can't pull off both Kelso. Is his name? Kelso.
Ashton Kutcher is
Kelso
yeah.
and Ashton Kutcher's character. Why can't I remember
Ashton
his name?
Kutcher's Kelso.
Yeah.
Oh, Kelso and
Yeah. Hyde.
no, Hyde's still there.
Eric.
It's
Oh, okay.
Eric. It's
Yeah,
Eric.
Eric.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
okay.
can't pull off both Kelso and Eric. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
What's-
And then
oh, sorry. Go then.
and which is why the final episode, I guess he doesn't make much of an appearance. And Topher Grace, they decided to bring him back for that one tiny little cameo, just so they can have all the cast back together. But man, the 7th season is not good.
It's interesting because when I'm thinking post Steve Carell Office, the worst part of it legit is like the first 5 episodes after he
Yeah.
leaves. And those are probably the worst episodes of the entire series, I would say. And it's that phase and they're trying to replace Steve Carell.
Are those ones that had Will Ferrell or no?
Yeah, exactly.
Those are the ones that had Will
Yeah,
Ferrell?
I personally think those are sucky. Some people
Oh.
like them, but I think they're the worst. I thought Will Ferrell was terrible in that role.
Mm.
But I think it's the same exact kind of thing Athene was saying about that 70s show. When they're trying to replace a character that has a similar kind of quirk as the one they're replacing, they never do as good as the original one because you know the original one so well. That's why I feel like when shows add characters that aren't trying to replace anything, it does a good job.
Yeah, and it's hard to do something like that because like if you've had someone for that long, like 5 or 6 seasons
Yeah.
or whatever it is, like that's the show that's why you like it, is because all those characters are there.
Exactly,
Then someone's
yeah.
gone. It's of course it's gonna be hard to live up your expectations or what you've already built up in your mind.
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
I feel like most, if not all, the episodes of The Office, they don't necessarily revolve around Michael, but he's a big part
Oh,
of
yeah.
pretty much every episode.
Why you like the show, or
Yeah.
like why
Yeah.
you were like drawn to
That's
it
because he
initially.
tries to be involved in everybody in the office's lives, and that's
Mhm.
why. And so we don't have that involvement, that one extra little supporting character of involvement everywhere.
True.
Not to mention, dude, like the final episode with Michael saying the goodbyes, like that would have been the absolute best just to like end the
Oh,
series
yeah, that would
on.
have been a great ending.
Yeah.
It was so good, and like I was watching these the behind the scenes with John Krasinski and Steve Carell, and they said when they were filming that scene where they were in the office, like Jim was saying
It
goodbye, like
felt
they were
like the
they were
end.
legit crying IRL, like they couldn't
'Cause it
even
just felt like the end.
yeah they couldn't
probably.
even say their lines without crying in real life, just because of I don't know, like the bond they've built
Yeah.
over their acting careers together. But
Oh, could just add on to that. So I remember recently Steve Carell, I think he he did an interview with someone and someone asked him why he ended up leaving. And so like there's been like a lot of things that he said, but what I got from it is what he said is he kind of just threw it out there to see what like the producers or the showrunners would think, and he said, "Yeah, I think I'm going to be done. I'm not really feeling this anymore. I kind of want to leave." He wanted to see what what like the reaction would be from the like the producers, and they didn't really react. They're just like, oh, okay, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. They didn't really like fight for him. So I think that's why he like decided to leave. He was kind of wanting to, but he wanted like a reason to stay.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so I mean and I think that's what it was, is they didn't really like show like any fight for him. So I mean I think that's why he ended up leaving.
Well, and I think I watched that same video. They also mentioned that his contract was up, and
they
didn't
as well.
They didn't want to do it. Like there was no talks of doing a renewment or anything.
Yeah.
So it was just like he threw it out there, and nobody said anything. So he's like, okay, I guess that's it.
So I mean, he kind of had to though, like because he had to renew it. So like that was the time to do it. Like, he wanted to see if they wanted him or not.
I also knew he's probably a big actor at times. Like, oh, he's gonna have a higher salary. We should probably just let his contract run up, and which is kind of a shame because I think the show should have died because it's also that scene where Pam isn't at the office.
She's at the airport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No worse. Well, at first she's doesn't say goodbye to Michael at the office. Says she goes to the airport, and that's a really touching scene. It's she got to say goodbye to Michael.
Yeah, and he took off his mic too. He took off his lav mic, and he did he leave it on something? I can't remember what he did with it.
No, he gave it to the cameraman.
Gave it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was it. You couldn't hear him anymore, and he just walked away. And it was dang, dude, that. I don't know. To me, that could have been a perfect ending.
Yeah.
And it would have been really cool if they would have been able to keep him around and then just finish it out strong. If they wanted to do some more seasons like that, it just sucks that they kept. How many more seasons they do after Michael's gone?
3.
See, that's a lot of.
It is a lot. Yeah.
Lot of episodes to do without a character as big as or as important as Michael.
Yeah.
I wish. Yeah, it would have been cool if they would have kept him to do some more. Dang.
Definitely.
But one thing that I've learned from TV shows in general, and I learned a lot about this too, listening to Will Smith on his YouTube channel talking about why Fresh Prince ended, and they wanted to do more seasons, but I think they were at season 6, and Will was talking to some film guy, and he said, "Listen, it's best to end on your own terms than to get canceled,
That's true.
or to have fans reject what you continue to produce." And I don't know, you take something like The Office, and maybe people enjoyed the seasons after, but I guess just shows in general, sometimes too much is too much, and you just need to find a sweet spot to end. The Game of Thrones, apparently, I've never seen it, but the last season, I guess everybody hated.
Yeah.
They didn't have any solid book material to go off because George R. R. Martin, that world they were writing, that was his world, and then
it was an adaptation of the books.
Yeah.
They were adapting the books, and George R. R. Martin hasn't finished the series.
Yeah.
They got to that point where they caught up essentially.
Yeah.
And instead of waiting, they just did their own thing.
Yeah. Which
because the pan was kind of hot, so they're kind of in a spot where where do we hit it when everything's really hot and everyone loves it.
Heck, even for an HBO show, that's not even good. There have been some shows that are based off they're completely original concepts, like The Wire, The Sopranos, that have that went strong throughout their whole run, but for some reason Game of Thrones, they're oh, we don't have any more book left, guess we better just crap something out. And it's come on guys, use your brains, think.
I mean, the same thing happens with anime and manga.
Yeah.
There's countless shows. Well, yeah, filler, because they're trying to wait for the manga to get farther, or sometimes they just disregard the entire manga and just make their own thing after a while.
I will admit, One Piece, this isn't it hasn't tampered in quality, but there are some points where it's it just drags and it's not as good as man, I wish this was this isn't as good as Marineford. And it's you're I would just kind of want them to get to the end already.
Yeah, that's everybody's complaint with Boruto, the anime right now. It's just there's no rhythm or rhyme to some of the stuff that they're coming up with.
There's not a lot of manga to go off of, and the stuff that they do have, they kind of want to keep that, I think, in the back burners, so they can get to it eventually and have a bunch of stuff they can kind of go through.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember if this is exactly 100% true, but from what I understand, the original series of Naruto originally ran 200 episodes, but the first, I think it was 140 or something, was canon to the manga, and then the manga ended for about a year or two. And then they picked it back up with Shippuden with the manga. But the Naruto anime never had a break. It continued every single week until Shippuden. So they had 60 episodes of filler because they they didn't have any source material to go off of.
Yeah.
And that's
think-
why people don't like the filler in Naruto so
Yeah.
much, because it's so far off of
Yeah.
what the manga ever was, because there was no material to go off of in the first place.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it took a hiatus in between.
Shippuden and original.
Yeah.
I think it was
like-
either a year or
part
two,
one and part
something
two.
like that.
Like yeah, the manga took a hiatus, I
Yes.
think. Yeah. Well, at least you're not the One Piece anime. Like they still tried filler. One Piece abandons filler and instead like stretches out the episodes, so they add like a 5-minute recap, a 2-minute intro,
Oh gosh.
and like the meat of, and like do a bunch of flashbacks where they reanimate entire scenes from previous episodes, and like you only really get 15 minutes of new content at each episode.
Dang.
When it comes to adaptations, though, I
Yeah.
think the best one I've seen so far has to be Attack on Titan, hands down.
Yeah.
Because they wait for the manga, they don't come up with their own stuff. Kishimoto, the creator of Attack on Titan, is involved with the anime, so he can fix things he didn't like in the anime according to like where the manga was and things like that. And it's just like it's almost frame by frame. You can read the manga and watch the anime at the same time. Like there's some things you'll miss here and there, but mostly it's exactly the same. It's really well done.
Also JoJo, they like, I don't know what the production was like back then, since the manga started way back in like 83 or 80, I don't remember, 86 I think. But they first had like an OVA, which is like very summarized part 3 like very tightly, and for some reason they started in the middle and didn't explain anything through those episodes. And then like a few years later they said, oh, let's make the rest of the episodes like a decade later. It's like, okay. But then finally in 2012 they were like, hey, let's adapt part 1 and 2, and they did. And I'm glad they did that, because now they only have 2 parts left to adapt, because part 8 is unfinished. And so they're like, and also they have good gaps in between seasons, so they actually kind of let it like kind of make sure it looks quality, yeah, that's why I like JoJo's adaptations, because they actually waited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know we kind of had a giant tangent from the original
Yeah.
question.
Yes, we did.
Yes, it did.
Um,
Oh,
They've
my,
got more
my
to talk
movie.
about. Oh,
My
he's got his
movie I
movie. Okay,
watched-
never mind.
Oh, the things you rewatched.
Things you
over
watched
and
the
over.
most, yeah.
The
Rewatched.
movie I rewatched. Oh gosh, there's probably a lot as a kid. Lion King.
Lion King?
I don't know if there's any modern movies as an adult, because usually I watch one movie and I'm done, and then if I watch it again, I'll watch it with friends. Gosh, what movies have I watched multiple times? Also, I think the one I watched like when I was younger, where I wasn't a toddler really, was like the Simpsons movie, because I really liked that
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah, but as an adult, I really don't watch movies over and over again. I watch once, I'm like, that was good. And if I want to watch a scene, I can usually look it up on YouTube. It's like, ha, I love this scene. I love this scene.
Yeah. what about you, Zay?
That I'll watch over and over again.
That you have, or that was good enough too, I guess.
Oh, wait, I guess, you know what? Oh, TV shows. I haven't really, here's the thing. Sorry, Zay. I wasn't finished. I haven't really watched many TV
As long as
shows.
you finish the episode, as long as you finish your
Yeah, yeah, I
series,
know,
then
yeah.
I want to watch it. So as long as you finish it,
Yeah.
you can go ahead.
Okay.
Promise
What-
me.
I haven't really finished a lot of TV shows, but I have watched a few anime a couple times. I think the one I've watched the most was Fooly Cooly, because it was 6 episodes. And when I was like a middle school kid, and like when I was going on YouTube, was like, wow, this is like one of the best shows I've ever watched. And I think I watched some episodes like multiple times over. And then before the sequels came out, which are not really that good, I mean, I watched the second one, it's all right, and I didn't even watch the third one because I guess it was burned out. But I watched the first one before, and I was like, wow, this still holds up. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's probably one I've watched the most out of TV shows.
Nice.
What do you got for us?
All right. No movies come to the top of my head. Like I can't think of anything. But TV shows, some that like I've watched over and over again. Episodes are so Family Guy. That's one I can watch over and over again.
Yeah.
So like I don't like to watch like I'll wait a few months or like a year or something, but I'll go back and like I'll watch like a bunch of episodes from older seasons stuff, which I've already seen, but I'll do that. Besides that, I can't really think of anything, so that's the only one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about movies? Do you have a movie?
Movies? Not really. I mean, yeah, nothing really comes to mind. There's like a bunch of 80s movies probably is what I would say.
Yeah.
Like there's a bunch of 80s movies that I've seen and I've watched over and over and over again. And I always like them every time. I always go back to them every once in a while, so.
I see.
Yeah, that's about it.
For me, typically, I almost always watch something twice. If I like it enough, then you'll definitely see me watch it a second time. And most of the time, the first time is always not always, but most of the time, the first time is by myself. The second time I watch it is with somebody because I liked it enough that I wanted to share it with them. But as for just like specific titles, like I've seen Star Wars, specifically that's the first movie, A New Hope, countless times, probably 10 plus, just by itself. I've watched all of them multiple times, but like specifically that one I've seen a lot. That one and Attack of the Clones are probably my most watched ones.
Nice.
TV shows, like I said, I typically watch most things at least once through. But there's 2 shows I can think of, and they're both animes that I've watched multiple times through.
I know another one too. That's not anime.
Yeah. Mine. Oh wait, what?
Of yours.
Of mine?
Of yours,
Which
yeah.
one?
Breaking Bad.
I've only seen that twice though.
But you've seen it. You've seen it more than once.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like specifically Steins Gate and Angel Beats, I've watched each of those like 4 times both, maybe 5. Like I've watched them both a lot. Like granted, they're only like 12 and 24 episode seasons, but I definitely watched them multiple times because I really enjoyed those.
So I got a question though. Does this apply to you for video games as well? Like, do you like to go back and replay campaigns? I'm specifically talking about campaigns here.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that has like a resolution and ending. But are there games where you like to go play the campaigns several times over and over again instead of going on to like a new game and trying something different?
Specifically, I like to play Wind Waker at least once a year, just because it's my favorite. But then just because I want to go back and redo the story, it would be Call of Duty games specifically. I've definitely played through Call of Duty games like multiple times just because I enjoy the gunplay, I enjoy the campaign and the story. Like the Modern Warfare trilogy, that's my favorite one. I think it's great.
Working on this episode of Rendered Art, like going through the footage, I was like, I've never really had really I couldn't really think in head, why is this my favorite game? And I'm watching the footage, I was like, oh yeah, because the cutscenes and the story and the characters are just so memorable. I was like, dang, I really want to go back and play this again. I was like, oh, I love this game.
What game is it?
Okami.
Oh.
The episode I did. And also, I guess for a while I was trying to beat Doom 2016 on here's the thing. I was trying to beat it on ultra violence, like the hardest difficulty before Nightmare, because Nightmare is just unfair for some people. I mean, it's like it's like in the original Doom, the classic Doom, when you select it's like, warning, this difficulty is completely unfair. Are you sure you want to go through? And it is. It's completely unfair. When I tried to go through it, they had updates, and for some reason, those updates erased your save files, and I was like, oh
no.
Is that part of the unfair? thing or no?
That's
No.
what's unfair about it.
No, that's just like a screw up. That's a screw up on the developer's part that it erases your save files when the game updates.
So the creators of Doom are mean, but they're not that mean.
Yeah.
What you're trying to say. Okay.
And yeah, like I played through. I haven't played through it multiple times, but I've tried to beat it on the hardest difficulty, and and now there's Doom Eternal, and me working on this video, I haven't been playing it that much, but when I get this video done, I'm going through it, and I'm also gonna rip and tear through Animal Crossing.
Those poor animals.
Yeah,
Isabel.
Also,
easy, buddy. Whoa.
Jeez.
yeah. Also, some other games like Zone of the Enders. When I played through for footage, I was like, I really like this game. Second one more, and then what is it? Metal Gear Rising's like, oh, I want to play through this game again. This is really fun. There's a few games that like really satisfy my itch that I really just want to go back and play. But
have you played them?
What's like a campaign you've played the most, you'd say?
Yeah, that you've beat it at least once, and you keep going back.
And you
more.
keep going back and playing it
Because
again.
you're just a psychopath.
well, just like with most movies and TV shows, when I play a game and beat it once, I'm usually done. And I haven't really beaten a game. Well, I did beat Resident Evil 2 like 4 times, but that was like in their different scenarios. When I did that, I was like, well, I'm done with this game, and I'm probably not gonna pick it up anytime soon. But like, yeah, like shoot, my brain, yeah,
We'll come back to the thing.
Yeah,
I really like Okami, and yeah, I've owned multiple copies throughout the years, so yeah, that's probably the game.
Okay. Sky, did you say yours already?
Mine's probably one of the Halo games, probably Halo 1. 'Cause
Oh, yeah.
I played it all the time with my dad. Like I've beaten that campaign so many times, and it's so fun, dude. Like the last mission makes you feel so good because there's so much on the line, and you're just escaping from a ring that's exploding. I mean, I guess you're on the ship trying to get off of the ship and escape, but that one, I've done Resident Evil 4 probably a couple times, but one that I think I've gone back a lot as well is Gauntlet Dark Legacy. Like I've played through that game so many times. I've made so many characters because I would play through it by myself, and then like Zay and some other friends would come over and we'd play it some more, and yeah, I don't know, I just played that game a bunch.
It's funny they bring up Halo though, because I forgot about that entirely. I played through Halo 3. I played every single difficulty by myself all the way through at least once. Then I played through the campaign with my friends multiple times.
Yeah.
So that's got to be at least 10 times played through the whole
Yeah.
campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, it's like a 10-hour game, but still.
Yeah.
Oh, Gears 2 I beat several times with
yeah,
friends.
that's
I've
another
done
one.
that one
That's
before as
a
well, multiple
local.
times.
But I would say very rarely, especially for me now, I really don't like to go back and replay through games because I like to play new. And once I beat a game, I'm like, okay, I've beaten it.
It's ironic that you say that right now, Sky. You're playing through Breath of the Wild
Yeah.
again right now.
Yeah.
And you already beat Bloodborne. You played through it again, didn't you?
No, I
No.
didn't beat it the first time,
No,
but I
that
played
was-
through it.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm almost to it. I just got to beat Orphan of Kos, which I haven't got to, and he heard he's a massive pain. And then I got to get the other 2 endings. I got to get, after this one, I got to get the other 2 endings.
Yeah.
I'm going for the Platinum Trophy.
I feel like I know Zay's answer for this one.
Say it. Go.
Grand Theft Auto?
Yep.
Nice.
Grand Theft
Which
Auto
one
5.
specifically? 5?
Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah.
I think I beat 4. I beat 5. I have not beat San Andreas. I don't think I beat Vice City either. So I mean, there's all those ones I still want to play through,
Yeah.
but.
You can
got
get
'em
them
up
on
there.
Steam.
Yeah, I'm contemplating, buying Grand Theft Auto 5 on PC to play through it again. I'm
Oh.
thinking about this as you guys are talking. I'm
If
like,
you
I want to
buy-
buy
You
it
just
again.
barely bought it on the Xbox.
Exactly. That's the problem.
If you buy it for the PC, I'll probably buy it too
Yeah.
and play online.
Dude, yeah.
That'd be
We
fun.
totally play online. It's
Alright.
fun to play.
You wanna
Grand Theft
know-
Auto
I'll probably
online.
buy it again online then.
You want to know the crappiest thing about 3 through 3 Vice City and San Andreas on Steam?
Hmm.
I think they're just like up-res versions of the mobile ports.
Yeah, I'm
They're,
sure
dude,
they are.
yeah, they don't look very good. No, they don't
Yeah.
look very good.
It
That's
sucks.
how a lot
Those
of
are
that's how a
definitely-
lot of old games are. They
Yeah,
just
those are
put 'em.
definitely to the time. Like
Yeah.
they don't look as good as, of course, those games now. But
Like most of the Final Fantasy ports on the PC are just mobile ports of them.
Yeah.
They take the
And
phone
it
ones
looks
and send them
it
up.
doesant it looks cheap looking. Like you see look at Final Fantasy, it looks like, oh, that looks just so cheap
Yeah.
and lazy.
But I'll bite right into it.
And they raised up such a stink about Chrono Trigger when they brought it to Steam that it was like, all right, we'll bring back the classic look, and they did. But it's like, man, they should have raised the stink about Final Fantasy VI because it still looks like trash. I mean, it probably plays amazing, but the fact that like you look at it and be like, this just looks so bad. Like this is a PC port. We want like authenticity. Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to go back to before we move on.
I guess
Donkey
you
Kong
can
Country,
mod 'em
that's
in.
another one too.
Yeah,
I played through that
Put
one
in
so
there.
many times. I played through
and
that one
Super
so
Mario
many
World.
times.
Yeah.
I think I've only played through it once.
Oh, the full game.
Yeah.
I remember beating like
Yeah.
the first 4 missions with you like 15 times.
Yeah. That's about it.
So going back to the Breath of the Wild thing real quick, Cole, just to elaborate on one of the reasons why I want to play through it again is my first experience with Breath of the Wild is when Thane first got it for the Wii U back when it came out, and I only watched him play it. I'm like, okay, well, we'll probably beat this game in a couple months, and then I'll just play it. Well, we haven't beat it yet. And it's 3 years later, but
That's
the
great.
first time I played it was
That's great.
when we first moved here almost 2 years ago. That's disgusting to say. I was like, okay, well, I think it was before that. We went on a trip, and I'm like, can I play Zelda while we're in the car? I played it for like an hour. Didn't really experience that much of it, just ran around. And then I started a new character when we moved here, and I played every night for probably like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I took a year break, and then just recently went back and beat it when you guys would watch me play, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I didn't really experience it all in one go. Like, it was like bits and pieces throughout a year and a half of play. So one of the reasons I want to go back to it is I want to experience all of it in one go, if that makes any
see.
sense.
You know, game I remember Super Mario Odyssey when I played through it again on the channel when Sky was gone. It's like, hey, go stream for me, like stream on the channel.
Stream for me. Stream for me.
Hey, like
Stream
because
for
he
me.
was
Denkun.
he was
you
gone,
don't
and
know
it's
what
like,
it
I have no
hey,
idea what that is. I just
it's
made
like,
it up. I just-
It's
hey
an
bro,
Aircon
tried
can
to
you
be part of it.
It's
can
an
you
Aircon
stream on
thing.
the channel for a week? And I played through the whole game again, and when the ending happened, I almost cried because like
Red
this,
Dead?
No, not Red Dead.
Sorry,
Super Mario Odyssey.
Oh, Odyssey.
Like,
Is it because Mario gets cucked?
He's like, John Marston, no.
That's a good game too, but I need to beat that one.
I've
Yeah.
I've
I've
played
gotten
it for like 10
close,
I have
minutes.
I have my
Oh,
copy
it's a
in
beautiful
here.
game.
You can just it works on Xbox One. Just
We've got the Undead Nightmare.
they should
up
have
there
a
too.
PC port.
Those
Do they
are-
not
those
have
are
a
beautiful
They don't. Of
games.
Red Dead
Uh-uh.
1. Nope.
Really?
Nope. Never did.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know if they
that
ever
makes me feel a
will,
bit better.
but
Yeah.
About not
Most
having
people
to
were
get that
pretty
one.
mad that they ended up doing Red Dead 2 instead of doing a port of Red Dead 1
Yeah.
first.
I think they should do a port of Red Dead 1 and also slip in Red Dead Revolver just for the heck of it. Be like, haha, hey, here's some extra
You know,
meat.
Sky brought something up that takes me to my next question for you guys. He talked about watching Thane play a video game, and that's my next question. Which games have you watched somebody play? Like, what was your favorite game you watched somebody play, but you've never touched it yourself? You've not once tried playing it yourself, but you watched somebody play through a lot of it or almost the entire game. I'll just say mine first. Mine is Metroid Prime. I watched my brother play it a long time ago, almost the entire thing. I think we beat it. I don't
On
remember, to be
GameCube?
honest. Yeah,
Was it
on GameCube, yeah.
I remember watching that too. The bubble shield that you
Yep.
hold and
Yeah.
stuff. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, my
Oh,
brother
dude,
played through.
something.
I believe we beat it. I don't remember because we were borrowing it from one of his friends, and he beat it.
Ooh.
And I'd always ask him, "Let's go play the game." But
Ooh.
of course, that just means let me watch you play the game.
Yeah.
I never played it once. Still to this day, I've
Yeah.
never tried it, but I really enjoyed watching him play it.
I'm trying to think because I feel like for me it'd be something that Jordan played because
Yeah.
we would always go to grandma's and just he would play on the big screen and we would just all watch. Like
I
it was so
Yeah.
mesmerizing watching him play.
I think I've played I've played a little bit of Skyrim, and I still it's probably one of the games I'm planning to beat along a list of a million.
But do you
other
have one
games.
you've never ever touched, Thane? That
I
you've
can't
watched
think of
somebody
any.
play?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is I've watched more Skyrim than I've played it from
Okay.
Jordan, and I've pretty much seen the final boss. I've seen like some important quests. I've seen it all from Jordan, and I can't summarize the story perfectly, but I can tell you some like pretty big moments, and I'm not gonna spoil it because even though it's a almost a decade old game, dang, it's almost It's almost a decade old. Next year on 11/11/21, Skyrim's gonna be 10 years old.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Cute little boy.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of any because I feel like I've
Yeah.
always played the games that I've watched people do. The only ones I can think of are games we've played on the channel that I didn't play. Like, for example, Resident Evil 7, Zay played through that. I've never played it once. There's a couple indie games that Thane played on the channel that I've never played once.
I'm scared.
I'm scared one of them, yeah.
Little Nightmares. I
I
saw
played
that one.
that
I
one.
wanted
You
to play
played
that one.
I played that one. on my own
Outlast,
time.
I guess.
and
I've
fun.
never played Outlast. I
Oh,
watched
that's
Thane
true.
play it.
I
But
played
Do you
through the
want
whole
to play
thing.
that?
not really.
Yeah, that game.
Yeah.
No,
I figured most of your guys' answers were going to be stuff from the channel. Like, I
Yeah.
thought Zay was going to say The Last of Us
Oh.
specifically.
Oh,
What
no.
other-
Really? You don't like that one as much?
I liked it, but not. I mean, I wouldn't want to play it
No,
myself.
the question's not do you want to play it, just which one did you like the most?
Oh, I
Because
thought as
you've
if you
never
wanted to
played it, but,
play
but
it.
you've seen it and you liked it the
Gotcha.
best.
Last of Us was pretty funny to watch.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
probably that
Detroit Become Human was a fun one.
That's right, I did
Oh.
that
I never
one.
played that
You're
one.
I never
right,
played
yeah.
Detroit, but I don't need to play it to watch it.
That's true, yeah.
Once you watch it, you don't really need to play it unless you want to get all the other routes, which
true,
will
yeah.
take a
So,
long time.
I guess I think I figured out mine.
I got one too. So
After
go.
Sky.
So-
After Sky.
When we were little kids, one of my dad's brothers, it wasn't it's not Jordan, the one that you guys all know, but it was the one just older than him that lived at the house. We were little kids, but they had I guess it wasn't him, dude. Maybe it was. No, I think it was Jordan's friend. But he would I think it was Jordan's friend, but he would come over and he'd bring his PlayStation 1 and he would play Resident Evil, the first one.
Oh, really?
No.
And
I think
I've never played.
I think that was. Oh, go ahead, keep
Was
going,
it the
keep going.
friend or was it the uncle?
I think it was one of the uncles. Keep
Oh,
going. Keep going.
Okay,
keep
well,
going.
anyway,
I
Uncle,
remember watching him
I
play
can't
that,
remember, but I remember specifically watching somebody play Resident Evil, and I would hide behind the couch because I was so scared of the zombies. But that was a game I watched a lot of somebody play, and I've never touched it to this day.
So I have one, and it's I think it's one of the NBA 2K games that Zay, we would just sit down in the basement, and him and his brother or Sky or Brennan would play it, and I'd just be there like, yeah. And I think
fun.
But
I
you
think-
liked it, though. Because you
What?
brought it up
Yeah,
and you
things
liked
like,
it.
dude, this is
I
lit.
never liked. Well,
Go LeBron!
I was interested. I was like, yeah, okay.
All right, then it's official thing. We're gonna stream basketball on the
Okay.
channel one of these days.
We're gonna become a 2K
Street.
channel thing.
Stream 2K 2020. Find all the glitches.
So there was one experience I had with something very similar to this. So I've had two PS3s in my life. The first one I ended up selling, and then I got a second one, which is the one I have now. But when I had my original one, I picked up Uncharted 1, and I played through maybe 30 minutes of it. And my brother came down and started watching it. Then I went to the bathroom. Next thing I know, he picked up the controller and played it. So I ended up watching him play through the whole game, and I didn't get to play it.
I
I'd
just
have
did
been
a little
so pissed.
switcheroo.
We little
Yeah.
switcheroo.
I'd have been so pissed. Like, no,
since-
get off.
Since then, I've gone back and played the remastered on the PS4.
Yeah.
But the very first time I played through, quote unquote, played through Uncharted 1, I was watching my brother pick up my save
Yeah.
file and play it for me.
Oh no. I'd be
Why
like,
would you
nope,
do that?
nope.
I don't know. Which is really interesting because he wasn't interested in games that much at
If-
that point, which is why
if-
I had the
yeah.
PlayStation, why I was playing it. But
Is that why you
Honestly,
just let him
I
go?
think that's partly why I just let him go. I was like, yeah, I'm down, dude. Hang out with my brother, go watch him
Honestly-
play a game. This is awesome.
Honestly,
good old
when
days.
someone was younger, I wouldn't do this today because I'm more sensible. Even though some people will call me a violent person.
Some people, I think all of us might think.
He's violently sensible. He's sensible to the point of like if you
Anyways,
make him mad,
if
he'll
someone,
just get all violent.
Like if I was at Jordan's house when I was younger and someone seriously did that, started playing a game, I would like literally punch them and take the control and be like, "F off, dude."
You'd probably do that right now.
You'd
I
still
bet.
do that,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think you'd still do it.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
What the hell
I
are you
definitely
doing?
think you do.
I made a
Okay.
joke thing. I made a joke where when we were playing Animal Crossing,
Yeah.
I went like this, and you slapped my headphones off my head again.
I didn't do that.
You did.
They
You slapped his
slapped
headphones
you
off.
slapped my
Thing,
headphones
but
off
that's
again.
still the equivalent of like someone trying. He didn't even pick it up. He trying to pick it up or acting like they're going to.
Yeah.
He didn't even touch anything. He hit you.
So
You still
okay,
hit him.
so when I hear Thane playing Doom Eternal, I'm gonna wait for him to go to the bathroom. When he goes to the bathroom, I'm just gonna pick up his game and start playing it to see how hard he punches me.
You go into
I'm
his
just gonna
room,
get-
sit on
I'm-
his bed.
I'm just gonna see how hard he punches me. Like I know he's gonna. It's just gonna be like a fun. Like what's the how much damage is it gonna
yeah,
do?
go
Yeah.
go into his room, sit on his bed, and then put on one of those chest GoPro
Yeah.
cameras, and then you turn to him as
Dots
he
him.
faces you. Just
I gotta get the full experience though. I'll turn on my favorite Twitch streamer. I'll throw the game up, put my headphones on, and Then to see how hard he hits.
That's freaking awesome.
They don't even die. You know you would hit.
But
You go, what the are you doing in my room? Ugh.
by the way,
He
this
knows
is
it
this is a
right.
little side topic, but one thing that's really interesting about Thane, especially when I've seen him these last 2 weeks that he's been editing rendered art, is he puts on Bob Ross on his second monitor.
When it's on, like sometimes it'll be off because you only stream on the weekends.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
It's
he'll
just background noise.
He'll have Bob Ross on there just painting while he's editing. It's like, man,
what's the problem?
But no, I get it though, because I sat in there when you were showing us the preview of the episode, and I sat there and I just watched him paint. I'm like, wow, this is this is mesmerizing.
It's peaceful. If you listen
Sometimes
to him,
when I see a really
got a
unique
great
painting
voice.
he does, it'll be like, oh, and just kind of watch that one. One he had like a wood tile type canvas. I was like, what's that? And I don't remember the full painting. But I was like, that's a really interesting canvas. It's just like a what is it, like a wood wall, like wood tile. That's what it is. It was wood tile.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It was like, yeah. It's like, it kind of looked like the wall of a log cabin.
That's fun.
Yeah. But, yeah, like, and when Bob Ross is not on, I was putting on like a chill music stream. Vaporwave, usually.
winks, winks, points at the camera.
You're dead now.
No, Jamie.
That's funny, dude. I don't know, like I did the same thing as Sky. I just kind of watched a little bit, and it was kind of fun to see how he made specific things. I can totally get it. The Bob
Yeah.
Ross just painting.
Oh, yeah,
Just
yeah.
watching him how he makes specific like strokes and
Yeah.
stuff.
I'd love to.
And, like,
I've watched him before,
yeah.
and it's fun. I'd love to learn how to paint like that. That'd be really
Yeah.
cool. Did enjoy it that much. That'd be
I
really
And,
cool.
like-
I suck a titty at painting anything. I can't
And like
even
when
draw.
you hear it, he has such
But
nice words of encouragement. He's like, in this canvas, this is your own little world. You can do whatever you want here. It's like,
His voice is just really soothing.
Yeah.
Like he does a good job.
yeah.
and like one time he was painting cabins. Like some people say, oh, I don't like. I like the painting until you put the cabin there. In your painting, you can remove the cabin. You don't even need to put it there. It's like, wow.
You don't need
Thanks,
to put
Bob.
it there.
Thanks
You
for
don't
I
even
will
have
giving
a
now
cabin.
recreate this painting without the cabin.
Thane gives the monitor
We,
a hug.
Very
I think
nice.
we totally need to do a video one of these days where we do a Bob Ross painting. All four of us do it, like follow along Bob Ross.
Yeah.
with the
Oh, that'd be a
video.
cool
That would be
video.
fun.
It'd
That'd
be
be
a
good
cool
I've seen a
Friday
lot of
video.
people do it, but I think that's what we really need to
I've
do.
actually
is
I've
try
done
to-
that before. I
try to
painted
follow
along with
along.
it. I
Yeah.
painted along with someone. I painted along with
We're gonna
it.
need a
It's
couple
definitely do
camera
that.
people for that. A couple
Yeah.
cameramen.
I think we could do
I
it.
mean, every once in a while,
And
we'll
you
have to
need-
just pick up the cameras and like show off the paintings. a
we
bit
could do
more.
it.
And you need all the right tools. Like
Yeah, it's gonna be a bit of
You-
a more pricey one
yeah.
for sure.
you need the
It'll be
odorless.
fun.
You
Yeah, I think
need
it'd
the
be fun.
odorless thinner. You need the brush, and you go.
I don't think we had to get like
just beat the
all
devil out of
painting
it.
utensils.
Yeah,
I'm thinking just
yeah.
a couple paints and some brushes.
No, Chloe
So
has a lot
watercolors?
of that stuff. So I mean,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
she paints. Like she has all the brushes and everything. I think we
Okay.
could just use
Okay,
that, and then
cool.
we just need our own canvases. I think,
Well,
or
I-
however big we
I
want.
think-
Canvases aren't too expensive either, so
Yeah, however big we want to do. I'm sure you could just do like a little like square. one or
exactly.
something.
Yeah, it'd be fun to see who could do the best one.
I don't think it's me. In all reality, I would place my bets on Cole. I feel like Cole's the artist out of all.
Yeah.
I don't know if I
Four
can
of us.
paint though.
You can still draw.
I can rarely draw. I can't draw super well anyway. I'm not the best drawer. Most of my drawings are traced.
Well,
I mean, that's all most people do it though.
I mean,
That's almost-
tracing.
You trace, like you create the sketch or whatever, then you do that. I mean, that's how a lot of
Tracing
people
is
do
a
it.
start.
And the
Yeah.
graphics I do on the channel, I wouldn't really count that drawing. That's just like vector graphics that I'm doing. Those are a lot easier for me because I don't actually have to put a pen to a paper.
I mean, it's a start. If you don't think you can't paint, just remember Bob Ross says, if
He's
you
a painter in everyone.
yeah
That's what he says.
no,
He's a
and
painter and everyone.
it's like if you really think you can do it, you can do it.
Yeah. See, I don't know, dude. Like I've seen a lot of people like draw things. Like I like to watch those videos where it's like turning the word Kobe into actual like Kobe Bryant. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those.
Whoa.
Yeah.
But I also saw somebody that blew my mind. They call him the printer man because he draws
Yeah,
like
he draws
this,
it perfectly.
and it's nuts because he just draws line by line, and he ends up drawing exactly perfectly whatever it is
I've
that
seen
he's
that too. It's really
that
cool.
he's drawing. But
There's something similar. Have you seen that guy? Like, I think one time what he did is he was in a helicopter. They flew him over like the top of a like a city,
Mm-hmm.
and like he has like a photographic memory. So like they brought him back down, and then they give him like a canvas, and he drew the city exactly what he saw.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
they put it up to comparison of what like the view he had, and it was like everything.
That's so cool.
wow.
Yeah, dude. It was really good too. Those are interesting. You guys should check those out.
Yeah. See, I feel like my artistic abilities lack in the drawing field. Like, I feel like I have a pretty creative imagination, but I just putting lines on paper, bro. That's a struggle for me.
Yeah.
It's
I
just-
I took art class in junior high and
Yeah.
still sucked.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like, I mean, you gotta practice. Gotta draw.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I do have one more subject for us. Now we're getting into this is just random crap that Cole's thought of throughout the weeks.
Oh no.
Like
Are these
legit.
Spitfire rounds, or is this?
This it's only gonna be one question.
okay.
It'll be like a thought experiment, I guess.
Oh, no, I'm not answering anything offensive, Cole.
Very offensive towards Zay. It's only to people with black
Yeah.
hair.
Okay.
I hate them. Just kidding.
Oh no.
So it actually has to do with hair, actually. So I've had this thought multiple times. Sometimes, like when you like see like a little bit of your hair like in your eye, and so you brush it off and it falls on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I've thought like, how often do I leave a little bits of my DNA behind that if somebody found that hair, they could take it and clone me?
Can they actually do that?
I don't think they can. Like say like a super sci-fi world or something where they go, oh look, I got a specimen, it's a little piece of hair.
I'm sure something can be done like
Oh.
that.
But isn't that crazy? Like that always kind of like makes me think like how like I've definitely just lost little pieces of hair everywhere. I got a beard.
Yeah,
I
and I think
little chunks of
everyone
my hair
does.
goes
Everybody sheds
everywhere.
hair on
I
their
think
head
everyone
though every
does.
day.
I think everyone loses hair from somewhere or some sort of DNA, like anywhere where they go.
Oh, yeah.
Well, dead
They
skin
leave- it's like they-
falls off.
Exactly,
Like,
they leave their trace somewhere.
your bed is
I'm
full
thinking
of
more
dead
of like
skin.
things that you could find though. Like I don't think you'd find dead skin super easily if you're trying to clone somebody.
I bet you could totally find hair.
a
Though.
hair would be
Yeah.
super easy to find. Like I don't know. It's just it's something that keeps me up at night. You know, one of
You know,
those little things.
There's a movie.
It gets me.
There's a movie. It does involve cloning, but it involves DNA. It's called Gattaca, and it's a movie with Ethan Hawke where it's a society based around genetics rather than like skill, I guess. Like he couldn't become an astronaut because they detected that he could die of heart failure at 30. And he tries to prove himself, but society's like, no man, you're gonna die at 30. So he gets someone else to like he like impersonates their DNA from, and he kind of like tries to fake it because nobody knows his face. They just know the DNA, and it's like there's one scene where he's like going for DNA testing and he gives the fake DNA from the other guy, and he's like, "Where's the interview?" It's like, "That's it. You're clear. That is the interview." They'd even do any other background checks. That is a big plot hole in the movie, but like it just makes you think. It's like, they really don't measure how much a person's worth because they think he's gonna die. And it really makes you think. It's kind of like a Philip K. Dick novel.
GG camera.
You made it almost an hour,
Yeah.
baby.
You lasted a long time,
Yeah.
Cameron.
Good job, Cannon.
I think the reason why I have these thoughts is because I like to think of like ideas for like a movies or books or
Yeah.
anything like that. Like it'd be an interesting plot for either somebody trying to track somebody down, they find little things of hair, or somebody trying to like avoid being tracked down where they're like being super like careful about all of the hairs on
Yeah.
their head, making sure they don't drop any. or
That's
anything like
that's
that.
that's the movie Gattaca.
That's
Every
just basically the same thing.
yeah, every
Okay.
morning when he like before he goes to work, he like goes in the shower and he's like scraping off like any possible dead
wow.
skin, And also, someone does get murdered at the place where he works, which is called Gattaca, which is the title. And it's kind of like this weird NASA type thing, because they can't actually have NASA in there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like someone gets murdered, and they pick up like a DNA sample of him, and they're going after him, thinking he murdered the guy, but really he's innocent. He's just impersonating someone. But also, like, the movie also tries to like make you think, oh, did he really kill that guy? And it's like, but yeah, I guess go see the movie. It's worth watching, because I don't want to
In theaters
spoil it.
now.
It's an old
Coming
movie.
soon to
It's like one of those
theaters.
old like cult classics that people said it should have got more recognition because it didn't get enough recognition that it deserved. Kind of like Blade Runner when it first came out, and its sequel. The sequel, more people should have saw because it's kind of a shame nobody went and saw it, even though it is pretty long. Yeah, they liked it, but nobody went and saw it. Like, not enough people, nearly enough people went and saw it.
Oh.
That happens usually with that. Happens a lot though with movies when you think about it.
Yeah,
a lot of people
like-
don't
yeah.
go see it, and then
There's
years
this-
later they'll
yeah.
catch up. I mean,
Yeah, like was it Office Space? That movie like bombed at the box office.
No way,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, but then the DVDs came out, and everyone's like, "What have I been missing?" And now it's
Yeah.
a pop culture
gotta
That's a
suck.
beautiful
phenomenon.
movie.
That's gotta suck to drop your movie in the theaters and no
Yeah.
one watches it or everyone doesn't like it.
and then it
stuff
comes
like
back
that.
later, and it's just
Yeah.
like, well,
It's like, now I'm
I
not gonna
mean,
get as much money from this.
Exactly,
But I'm glad I
like-
guess you guys like it.
Yeah, like
I mean,
all these
some-
years, like I've been struggling to make a living. Like
Yeah.
I needed that movie to hit.
Well,
but-
that movie, Office Space, was Mike Judge, so
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
eventually made me watch it. I watched it while I was at my last job. I was rewatching King of the Hill because it had just
Yeah.
been re-added to Hulu, and I was like, what else has Mike Judge made? And I saw he made Office Space. I'm like, okay, let's jump on. I watched it and enjoyed it.
It's a beautiful
Yeah.
movie.
F and A,
time.
man. Yeah, F and A.
Oh man, there's a lot of good content
Yeah.
out there. I don't know why I rewatch things specifically. If I ever wanted to like watch all the things there is to watch, I would never get close because I just rewatch everything twice. So
And something is possible. There's so much out. Like there's so
Yeah.
many things to
And
consume. It's just
that's
something
kind of what I've like
possible.
come to terms with, and I think that's why I reconsume media.
Yeah.
So I know that I'm gonna get something I enjoy.
Yeah.
I don't just
Okay.
watch it and go, well, that was a load of crap. That was really dumb.
Cole's an efficient viewer.
I mean, that's the way I'm with food too. Let's be honest.
I guess that's why I don't really rewatch media that much, because like, oh, there's other stuff. Like, I don't want to really waste time. Like, I really like this, but I don't really want to waste time watching it again. I want to
So
go
you're
watch the other stuff.
You're the opposite of Cole then.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I just want to watch as much as I can or play as much as I can, because, I mean, I already got it once, or I got my impressions, whether I liked it or hated it, and I'm gonna move on.
I see.
So yeah, I'm with Thane on this
Yeah.
one, but it's because like I don't know. I agree. Like I see where you're coming from, Cole, because it's always like comforting knowing like, yeah, this is a good show, I'm gonna watch it, or good game, I'm gonna play it.
Yeah.
But I'm more with Thane though, in an aspect of, well, I don't know what I'm gonna like until I try it, so I want to
Yeah.
try everything, because you never know if I mean, maybe there's someday I'll find something that I like more than Lord of the Rings, or a campaign that I played way more than Halo or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Zelda's a great game. Well, how many Zelda clones are out there that I might enjoy as well? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to me because one of my examples that I'm thinking of, I just recently finished an anime called Code Geass, and I don't have any intentions to rewatch it currently, but I know for a fact someday I will rewatch that
Yeah.
show. Like, it's probably going to be a year down the road when I slowly start to forget things about it, but like, sometimes they're just so phenomenal that I just want to re-experience them. It's really strange.
Oh, there's a lot of anime I want to rewatch with you guys, like Trigun, Full Metal Alchemist. What else? Those are the two. Full Metal Alchemist definitely. Sometimes I'll go in like last night I saw you guys. I was standing a whole episode while you guys were
Yeah.
watching JoJo.
I pointed it out to Sky at least. I was like, man, Thane walked in and watched the whole
Yeah.
episode of JoJo with us and didn't sit in his chair once. He stood the
Yeah.
whole time.
Because I was planning on leaving, but I was like, I really like this episode. It's the episode where Polnareff and Kakyoin fight Jay Guile, or as he's known as Mr. Centerfold.
Centerfold.
Yeah, in Japanese, he's
centerfold.
yeah, he's called Jay Guile, like Jay Giles Band.
Yeah.
That's
Oh.
funny.
Yeah.
That's one thing I really like about JoJo is all the little band names and
Yeah.
stuff. I think it's so funny.
That quirk, not the quirk, was it called the quirk?
The
guy
stand?
the
Stand.
persona the guy had
Yeah.
was pretty cool. He could like reflect and stuff.
Yeah.
Reflect.
That's kind of a cool idea.
OP.
Idea. I liked it. I saw like the last 10 minutes or some of it at least. I didn't finish it all the way through. I don't think.
You gotta keep your reputation, don't you, Zay?
Yeah.
Well, I saw some of it, so I mean I'm kind of familiar. I'm trying to build it up, really. Everyone's like, "Watch it now! Watch it! You need to see it! You're horrible if you don't."
You know, maybe mine is like a differing opinion. I think the show's okay. It's not my favorite
Oh
anime.
yeah, I'm with you there, Sky.
I'm enjoying it, but it's not like,
Yeah.
wow, this is awesome.
It's an enjoyable show, and I'm glad I'm watching it so I can kind of get like what the whole everybody talks about, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same point, I'm just like, I don't think I'll ever watch. It's not on my
Yeah.
to watch again list, I guess. if
Sorry,
that makes
Thick.
sense.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
I-
we're enjoying it.
I mean, JoJo, like, people really love it for how wacky and crazy it is, but you look at it and it's like, man, this show has a lot of plot holes.
I
So
mean,
many inconsistencies.
In all reality, if I were to rewatch something from JoJo, it'd probably be part 2. I really liked part 2, but at the
Yeah.
same time, that's also when I first tried watching the show. That's the part that I stopped on because I didn't like it at the beginning. So who even knows? Like, and there may be better parts,
Yeah.
that make it better. That I really, really like it. But
I heard part 7 is, like, amazing, but they haven't adapted part 6 yet, so.
it's funny because I think Thick said he's on part 8 right now, or part 6 or something. Part 5. Oh, it's part 5. He's on part
Yeah.
5, and he says it's so boring.
Yeah, he says he's not
he says he
having
really
fun.
doesn't like the new part. So JoJo's, I think it's just
I,
hit or
I
miss.
quite liked it.
I think it must just be hit or miss.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
Thane?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think he's done.
Yeah.
Thane ran out.
Well,
Um,
gamers, it's been fun.
It's been hot.
It's been bothered.
Thane's bothered that he's not hot.
Oh.
Oh!
He just ended your
roasted,
career.
or rather cooled, because you're not roasty.
Thane, what's that sound effect when a Roblox person jumps off and dies?
Ooh.
What if we did that as humans every time we got roasted or somebody took a shot at our ego? It's just, ooh.
What I always thought that came from was Happy Wheels. I thought that noise originally came from Happy Wheels, like when, you're the dad with the kid on your
Yeah.
bicycle and the kid dies. I thought he goes oof. I thought that came
Yeah.
from that.
My favorite
got a
sound
story.
effect was a
Bruh.
bruh. No, no.
Is that from
Actu-
Roblox?
I don't know
No,
what that's
actually,
from.
well, it's not my favorite, but I heard it recently and I laughed. It was from Speed Racer, where it's like they're racing and this bad guy's like, he's going off that cliff, and then he goes ah, and then falls off the cliff. The scream. He's just like,
Jeez, is it like a cut scream?
yeah.
Oh. Well, thank you guys for sticking through my random spiel of stuff. Next time I do this, I will have another weird thing probably that I thought of throughout the day. And also some
Alright.
structured topics like I did at the beginning of the podcast. But I appreciate it. I think we all appreciate you guys. We all love you.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
And if you made it this far, comment Master Chief looks fine AF, because he does. And also remember to hit the bell and hit the like button.
Okay.
And
But in a non-violent way. You're not promoting violence, are you?
no,
Not
no,
on
no,
this
no, no.
channel. Thank
Excuse
you.
me, not hit. Pat it. Get one of those nice little head pats.
Yeah, gently caress the subscribe
Pat
button.
it like
Make
it's
it
an
purr.
emoto. A little sister.
Yeah, feed it water like it's your Tamagotchi.
Yeah, and make sure
Yeah.
you clean up after its messes,
There you go.
or else
Nice.
it'll die. I had mine die that way.
Nice.
Yep.
Sad
Yeah.
times.
Also, remember, guys, Community Day is going to be filmed on Thursday, so get your questions in before. Get your questions in before. We will remind everybody again throughout the week. But provide us.
As you're listening to this, type. If you have some, throw them out. Do it. And then where should we have that posted though? Which section of the Discord?
The podcast section.
Okay, podcast section of the Discord, which is in. I guess everyone's in the radkatz already, but that's the one it's in.
Guys, also go follow our social media. We've got Instagram and Twitter clips that go up every week. New ones. They're fun.
Yeah.
At least 2 to 3 a week,
Yeah.
which is what it's been. 2 to 3 to
yeah.
We'll try to get more.
Did you
We'll
get-
just see. It's
We
hard
have
to
a good
remember.
amount though. I think the amount we're
Twitter.
at right now is like it's a
Yeah.
really good amount.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that Digimon is a spinoff of Tamagotchi? Wow. Okay, see you guys later.
We also have another social media account that we're
Okay.
working on, but it's a surprise.
I was about to say it too. I was
Oh,
like,
you
we're
were.
gonna.
Yeah.
We'll
say it.
say it.
We'll say it. This
Uh-uh.
is the big reveal.
Oh, that's the reveal.
Wasn't it supposed to be out by now?
Yeah. Today, I think today, as we're filming, we're gonna try.
Yeah.
To
Well, I mean,
Yeah. Ooh.
guys, it's
Yeah.
not. I mean, we've talked bad about it in the past.
We're
but
getting on the bandwagon, everybody. Yeah.
We're late as usual.
No, I just think we're trying it. I don't think we're jumping on it. We're gonna try it, see how it works. We're gonna make a TikTok, guys. Well, we already made one. We made a
Thing just
TikTok.
died. Thing died.
What's funny though
we
is,
just sold our souls.
what's funny is we used all of Thane's information to make it.
Yeah,
though, so
yeah.
the
No.
account's tied
Look at the
together.
emails
No.
too, and we
Yeah.
also subscribe to all of his favorite
E-girls.
girls.
Yeah.
And he gets the information from them. They're sending him his OnlyFans and
And then because he asked us to, we signed up for all their Patreons.
yeah,
and stuff.
yeah, $500 a month.
Yeah. Because Thane asked us to.
He wants to be on the loyalty part.
Yeah, it says like top member Thane,
Top
5
member
grand.
thing. It says on every one of their videos.
5 grand
Yeah.
in like a month.
So if you guys want to follow us on TikTok, it's at radkatz55 because some Indian dude took radkatz regular.
And we're not gonna do like skits and stuff. We're gonna be posting like clips,
like our Twitter stuff.
yeah. So like clips from
Oh
our
my
gameplays
gosh, somebody
and stuff.
please, somebody
see that?
please.
Oh.
edit
Did you see
that.
Yeah.
Did you see it, Cole?
Don't
He
worry,
did
guys.
that.
Thane is not a sim.
He did it on purpose. So yeah, guys, we're gonna try
proud of
it.
himself.
Follow us. Please share.
Oh, thank goodness.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Sorry,
Thank
Thane just
goodness.
slid down in
Camera,
his
thank
chair. He
goodness.
showed his whole freaking UPS package.
He tried to make sure he got on delivery time.
He has a
Or
hole in
on-time
his
delivery,
pants.
but
Did
he
you guys see the
didn't.
hole?
Yeah, that's what
I didn't
He's
see
got a
it,
hole
no.
in
I
his
saw the
boot.
hole.
I didn't see it. Well, thanks guys.
Enjoy.
Please don't make fun of us. We're just trying
We're
things
just
out.
doing
You know?
We're just 4 sweet boys.
You never know what you like or what will work until you try it, you know?
Follow us on TikTok at radcats55.
We're gonna be streaming tonight too, as you guys are listening to this, at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time.
See us there when we play. Insert title of game here. Bye, everybody. Keep it rad.
That's what he meant. Thanks guys.